Namaste and greetings, unity of Fredericksburg. It is great to be back with you once again. So today we are going back to basics, talking about the 5 unity principles. And if we're going to do that effectively, then we have to start off with how do these principles guide, influence, affect, and show up in your life as your life? The 5 principles are basically the pillars by which this practice is demonstrated in our lives. So what is your life showing as a demonstration of what you believe regarding these 5 pillars? Not what you say you believe, but what they actually demonstrate that you believe. Okay, pause, breathe, take that in. Because we recognize that faith without works is dead, but rarely do we actually recognize that we all have faith in something. Faith isn't simply something that we work on building. And truthfully, faith isn't even something that we have. Faith is what we are. So the question is, well, let's talk about faith in. Well, what do we have faith in, regardless of eventually getting to the point of faith as? But what do we have faith in? Do we have faith in health and well-being, or do we have faith in illness and disease? Do we have faith in prosperity or scarcity? Do we have faith in peace or war? What do we have faith in? Because whatever we have faith in, it is demonstrating what our faith, what the very beingness of our lives are grounded and anchored in. Because faith, as the very embodiment of this life, must demonstrate. It must show up. So what exactly is my faith demonstrating? There is fruit that the tree is bearing. What is that fruit demonstrating? What is it showing? Okay, so let's pause and breathe and get grounded, because we're going to explore this in more depth. We need to be very clear in what we are talking about. We have certain things that we think, but we don't necessarily believe or accept every thought as part of our system, part of our being. A belief is an agreement. It is an allowing of this thought to permeate our beingness. Because I can think about Bigfoot, but that doesn't mean I believe in Bigfoot. It doesn't mean I am accepting the belief in Bigfoot, the presence of Bigfoot, as part of my life experience to such a degree that when I go camping, I'm making sure that I keep all the lights on and the fire burning because I don't want Bigfoot to find me. But the moment I believe in it, I allow it to permeate my being, I allow it to become part of me, then I'm setting up cameras, I'm setting up traps, there's bottles, there's bells, there's things, there's whistles to make sure that I am warned well in advance. When we ground and anchor to a belief, it is saying that I am choosing to let this belief show up in my life, to show up as my life. Because once we have this thought that we now accept, we are going to live in a way that now demonstrates it. There is now going to be some evidence of this belief that started as a thought. This idea of our mental equivalent, thought plus feeling and emotion plus word becomes action. Belief is allowing this whole process to show up in my life. So we say we believe in the 5 principles. We say we've chosen to make these principles a part of our consciousness and part of our lives, but have we? So God is all there is, and it is present everywhere. Okay, so we got the 5 principles. Do I need to go over them? God is all there is and present everywhere. This is the force of love and wisdom that underlies all experience and existence. Okay. Really? Is that what we believe? Because what does it mean to believe that God is all there is and that it is everywhere present, not just as an omnipresent thing, but that it is omnipresence itself, right? Follow that distinction. It is not just omnipresent, but it is the very power and presence of omnipresence itself. So how am I invited to live? How are we invited to live, move, and communicate and have our beingness if this is what we believe? That this force of love and wisdom underlies the very foundation of all existence. What changes in how we show up when we believe that, when we live that? What does our life look like as a result of our belief in this first principle? How are we invited to show up when someone or something does not present itself as this love that is all present everywhere? What happens when there's the sexist, racist, homophobic person who is not showing up as this presence of love? How are we called to see them, to communicate with them, to treat them, and to know the truth about them? How are we supposed to live in a truly authentic manner and not just some kumbaya, syrupy, metaphysical bypass method of inauthentic spirituality? But how are we supposed to be grounded, anchored, and live, move, and be from this presence of what we are saying? Principle 2. Human beings are divine at their core and therefore inherently good. I got you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear it. I hear it. Inherently good. Yeah, but what about Jeffrey Dahmer? Inherently good, but what about Hitler? Inherently good, but what about Jim Jones? And the list can go on. If such people as these are inherently good, but they're not demonstrating this inherent goodness, then what am I called to do? So Jeffrey Dahmer is inherently good at his core, divine at his core. What am I called to do regarding that? It's one thing to say that we love all people, but then that person hurts us, oppresses, tries to kill, tries to hurt, harm, and injure. Am I still as willing to love them because they are divine at their core and thus inherently good? Or is it easier to just say it but not live it? Do we have objections to this kind of idea? Yeah, they are, but do I resist believing this because it is too difficult to see people? You know, they raped me, they molested me, like me, Raymont. That's my experience. Do I resist believing this divine at the core, inherently good, because it is difficult for me to see these people who harmed me as being that? Do I resist it? Are we invited to level up our self-care, our healthy boundaries while we walk the line of this duality, both and? They are expressing this way, but at their core, they are this. How do we breathe deeply, center deeply, and be in the presence of this truth, even when this truth does not appear to show up as that? Pause and breathe. Principle number 3. Thoughts have creative power to determine events and attract experiences. Thoughts are creative. That's why we say law of attraction, thoughts are things, as you think, so shall you be, what you resist persists, etc. Thoughts are creative. They are one part of a mental equivalent. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions, words, and then action. These 4 pillars of being cause demonstration. And we are always demonstrating. We are always in alignment with something. So what are we using our thoughts to create? Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand. The words you speak create your destiny." That's a mouthful. The words you speak, whether in mind, whether it's typing, whether it's a text, whether it's a Facebook meme, social media meme image, because image, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Everything that we communicate is laying the foundation of our destiny. As you think in your heart, as you align with this or that, you bring about a certain energy of manifestation, and your life is shaped and changed accordingly. So does it not benefit us to be more effective stewards of the thoughts that we think, the feelings and emotions that we feel, the manner in which we communicate in words or images, and then the manner in which we show up? Because actions speak louder than words, because an action, behind it, at the foundation of that action, there are the words, the thoughts, the energy. So what you do speaks louder than what you say, because the action is the demonstration of the belief. So what are we actually communicating? If our lives are sentences, our life is a paragraph, what does that paragraph say about what we believe? Principle number 4, prayer and meditation keep us aligned with the one great power that is in the universe, the one great power in the universe. Okay, pause. We're always aligned with something. I know we say things like being out of alignment, but we're always in alignment with something. The homophobic person is in alignment with hate, ignorance, and fear. They are not in alignment with compassion, generosity, acceptance, and love, but they are in alignment with this, right? So we are always in alignment. So prayer and meditation are only 2 practices, because there are thousands upon thousands. Prayer and meditation are 2 practices that help maintain us and keep us aligned with truth if and when we engage them purposefully, effectively, consciously, and mindfully. Just sitting there, Om Shanti Shanti, Om 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 Om. Is it time to go home? Om 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 Om. Time to go home. I'm done with this. I got to do the laundry. Got to clean the kids. Wash the dog. Walk the kids. Do my work. Do some typing. Send an email. That's not conscious, mindful. That's just thinking while in a meditation posture. So we have to do so in a more effective manner if we want to be aligned with truth. How do we engage this practice of prayer and meditation? Do we avoid it simply because it's too difficult? It's too difficult to quiet my mind. It's too difficult to do this. It's too difficult to fold my leg. It's too difficult to breathe. It's too difficult. It's too much of a challenge. I can't sit still. It's too hard. That stuff is for the holy people, the sacred people, the chaplains, the ministers, the them, not me. My mind just doesn't work that way. If you are thinking, breathing, living, then prayer and meditation is already a part of your life. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Take charge of, be mindful what you're saying. We're already doing it, because that which it is, God, is all there is. So it is already deeply part of who and what we are. Question is, how are we engaging this principle, this practice, to do so, to create, to live more mindfully and effectively? Principle number 5, it is not enough to simply understand the spiritual teachings. We must live this truth that we know. We must live it. Faith is a verb. Without faith, in this practice, in this truth, without the work, faith without works, what are we? Oh, we're just playing spiritual tiddlywinks. Spiritual rock, paper, and scissors. We're not really doing this thing we say we're doing, but we're always doing something. The person who is addicted to, they are doing something. Their faith in, their belief in that is causing them to act a certain way. We are always acting upon and from our faith. What are we choosing to enact to bring about by consciously engaging our faith to live and walk this truth. You know, when I was a fundamental Christian, we have this saying that you may very well be the only scripture that someone reads today. Well, in like manner, each of us, we may be the only unity principles. We may be the only affirmation. We may be the only declaration. We may be the only statement of truth that someone sees today. We may be the only compassion they see today. We may be the only peace of mind that they see today. Are we willing to live and assume and take upon that responsibility? Each of these principles is a call to action, not a call to theorize, to simply to let it, marinate within the space within our cranium. That's not what it is. It's not a head game. This is the way in which God is living itself in, through, and as each of us. When we do not accept this call to action, things to a certain degree, there's no, for example, if I say the word food, that doesn't provide nourishment. If I say the word water, no thirst is quenched. If I say I believe in this, you follow me? Saying it and doing it are two completely, vastly different things. Once we breathe in these principles and allow them to be embodied in, through, and as us, then we awaken not just our individual consciousness, but the collective consciousness. There's only one mind, and that mind is God, and that mind is powerful, perfect, and peaceful, and that mind is my mind now, and that mind is your mind now. What one of us does must affect the totality of creation. We, each one of us, we are the tipping point of enlightened, loving consciousness in the world. So we no longer sing, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." What we sing is, "Yes, there is peace on earth and it began with me. Yes, there is peace on earth and it begins with me." Each moment by moment. When we say the prayer of protection, yes, the light of God surrounds you. And yes, I am the light of God. Yes, the love of God enfolds you. Yes, I am the love of God. The power of God protects you. Yes, I am the power of God. Yes, I am the presence of God. Yes, I am the mind of God. Yes, yes. Yes, I am the laws of God. I am the peace of God. I am the joy of God. I am the life of God. I am the strength and the beauty of God, because that is all there is. Wherever I am, God is. I think it, I feel it, I speak it, I live it, because it lives as me, and all is well. That is the life we are called into being, to know the truth of ourselves, to let that truth be deeply embodied in, through, and as us, and then live, move, and have our beingness as the very life of, to be the very embodiment of Christ consciousness, not just to think it, not just to practice it, but to be it in walking, breathing, talking demonstration, moment by moment, day by day, thought by thought, feeling by feeling, word by word, action by action. And we breathe. We breathe because we know this is true, and we breathe to engage this process of meditation. We breathe knowing that we cannot rebreathe yesterday's breath or breathe tomorrow's breath or save a breath for a rainy day. We can only breathe now, this inhalation, that divine pause before the exhalation. And the pause before the process begins, this divine and holy ruach as God breathes itself as each one of us, grounded and anchored in truth, recognizing that every cell of our being, every muscle fiber, every bone, every tendon is the very power and presence of God. There is no physicality that is separate from what spirit is. It is all God, and it is all good. As Emma Curtis Hopkins said, "My good is my God." So we breathe, allowing this resonant, vibratory truth to echo throughout this divine body temple, from the top of our heads to the soles of our feet. I am the love of God. From the surface of our skin to the deepest particles of atoms, molecules, quantum particles, and waves, I am the light of God. We recognize that all of us, every part of us, is the divine in expression. So we breathe and we allow this energy to shift us. We allow ourselves to be committed to and convicted to this new way, this new up-leveling, where the 5 principles become the very pillars that hold us upright. That they are the guiding principles. They are a demonstration of what we value most. Because it is in what we value that determines what we choose. And so we breathe, recognizing that in each moment we get to choose anew. I get to choose love rather than fear. I get to choose possibility rather than limitation. I get to choose prosperity and abundance rather than lack and scarcity. And what I am able to choose anew, each of us likewise are able and invited to choose anew. And so we breathe. We breathe, recognizing that we have the full scope of creation, living, moving, and breathing itself as us. There's not a spot where God is not. That means right where we stand, right where we sit, where we drive, where we dine, where we visit, where we relax. The power and presence of God must be there. For that which it is everywhere, as the very omnipresence-ness of creation. A circle whose circumference is nowhere, whose center is everywhere, right where each of us is right now. The very power and presence of love made flesh must be. The very power and presence of being whole, perfect, and complete must be. The very power and presence of infinite wisdom, knowledge, possibility, present, right here, right now. Breathing, grounding, anchoring, aligning, recognizing this truth as being the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. For that which God is, I am ever becoming. That which God is, I am ever becoming. Because that which God is ever expanding consciousness. And what it is, I am that. I am. I choose it. I live it. I breathe it. And it breathes me. Grounded and anchored, knowing this truth. In gratitude, this meditation, this prayer, this service. In gratitude is the energy that is offered to the world, knowing that this energy is the very energy that changes the very tapestry of creation. That there is no place on this planet that is not feeling this vibration of love, of peace, of oneness. That this meditation, this service, this energy, the songs that were sung today, the affirmations today, the participation today is the very thing that is feeding and clothing every person around the planet, that is dissolving the energy of war and rumors of war, that is dissolving the energy of hate and hostility, of othering, and it is elevating and bringing in the very energy of love, compassion, and oneness. We are the ones who are called because that which Spirit is chose to incarnate itself, chooses to express itself as each one of us, even now. So, in gratitude, this meditation, these words, this prayer is surrendered into the law of mind and action. And because the law of mind and action receives and says, yes, I know that this meditation, this energy, this vibration is already considered answered prayer. And because it is answered, together we touch and agree and say, and so it is. Amen. Blessings, much love and appreciation to you all. Namaste.